Many entrepreneurs get excited by the thought of starting a business of their own, so much so that they get carried away with things like sales and marketing strategies. But don't forget that if you have a bad product or a bad service, there is no amount of marketing that is going to make that product or service profitable. Now, at the end of the day, we all get into business, in most cases anyway, to make a profit, okay? And if you find yourself in the situation where you are neither making a profit and indeed you don't have enough money to even sustain yourself, let alone the business, then it's more than likely that you are probably making one of these mistakes that we're going to talk about in today's video. Now, if this is your first time here, my name is Tess and I'm a UK accountant, and on this channel I share videos to help fellow entrepreneurs like you grow and thrive in their businesses. If you ever want to work with me on a one-to-one basis, you can do so using the links in the description box below. Now, as an accountant who has worked with dozens of UK business owners in the last 10 years and helped them with strategies to help them boost the growth of their business, there are key things that you might be doing wrong when it comes to the profitability of your business. The first is going to be revenue. Now, by revenue in this instance, I mean you might not be focusing on recurring revenue. By recurring revenue, I mean what you might be doing as a business owner is simply looking at a business product or a business service that only serves a purpose maybe in a single year or in a single season, etc. Whereas what you really want to do is to make sure that whatever product or service it is that you're providing to your customers, you want to make sure that there is a part of that service or that product indeed is able to generate recurring revenue on a consistent basis. This is going to be extremely crucial when it comes to driving the profitability of your business in the long run, okay? It's not good enough for you to simply focus on a service that only brings money, in a particular season and, and might not bring a consistent amount of income maybe the next year or the next 2 years. I would go as far as to argue that it is better for you to work on ways within your business where you can generate consistent recurring income, recurring revenue within that business. Because not only are you going to need recurring revenue to ensure that you can cover your operating expenses for running that business, okay? So things like your rent, your supplies, paying your employees their wages, paying your employees their salaries and things like that. But you'll also make sure that through focusing on those recurring revenues, you are able to actually sustain your business over a long period of time. And I think one of the good ways that you can look at doing this is by thinking of ways that you can diversify your income sources within your business. This will also help when it comes to thinking about recurring revenue within your business. That leads me on to the next mistake you might be making, which is basically not making sure that your profit margins are high enough. Now, sometimes this is simply out of your control, maybe as a result of the type of industry that you're in, or indeed the location where your business is located in. Now, a good rule of thumb for most businesses is to ensure that their profit margin for their business is close to or around the 10 to 15% mark. Sometimes this is very difficult because, like I mentioned before, this very much depends on what industry your business falls within. For instance, if your business falls within an industry that typically has a very high level of operating expenses, then it's going to be quite difficult to meet a profit margin that is this high. However, if your business actually falls into the kind of industry or business area that predominantly offers services to other business owners, and you find that your business expenses are on the lower side, then it would be much easier for you to actually attain a gross profit margin of this percentage. Now, it's also important to bear in mind that your location will also impact how much profit margin your business is likely to generate. For instance, if you have a business that you are running in London, okay, that is going to be pretty hard to generate a profit margin that is as high as say 15 to 20% compared to having that same exact business further up north somewhere in say Leeds or Liverpool. Because for instance, the person who has that equivalent business in London will have to pay significantly higher costs for the business premises over there compared to someone who is in Leeds, for instance. Another thing you're likely to find in situations like this is that the majority of business owners who run service-based businesses compared to product-based businesses might stand a better chance of actually being able to have higher profit margins within their business, which of course then means higher profitability. And one of the best ways you could look at actually increasing your profit margin when running a business is to actually focus on reducing as much of your business's operating expenses. Now, sometimes this is easier said than done, but at the end of the day, this is going to be one of the key ways that you would need to utilize when it comes to trying to ensure that your business's profit margin stays as high as possible. Now, the next mistake you might be making is not paying attention to the cash flow within your business. Now, a lot of business owners actually have cash flow problems within your business, but simply don't pay enough attention to these cash flow problems until they materialize and actually completely destroy the business. So it's important that you don't get carried away with profit figures that are simply being written on paper, but you actually also focus on the cash flow of the business. Okay, so a simple way of doing this is to ensure that you have enough cash at bank, for instance. Okay, so cash sitting in the bank account. Okay, ideally, this cash that's in the bank account will also usually be generating some kind of interest for your business. But you also want to make sure that your business is in the habit of actually getting customers to pay promptly and on time. Okay, because this will ensure that you have enough cash going in through the business on a regular basis, and this will help a lot when it comes to how your business is able to sustain itself in the long run. Now, as you can see, making more sales in your business does not automatically mean that you are making more profit within your business if you are not focusing on some of the other things that I've mentioned within this video. And there are other factors to consider as well. So when it comes to making more profit within your business, you don't want to focus entirely on simply generating more sales revenue. You also want to make sure that you're focusing on keeping your expenses as low as possible. For instance, you want to make sure that you are working with an accountant that can help you with tax efficient strategies on how to actually minimize the amount of taxes that you're paying over to HMRC as well. Because as you may know, the more profit your business generates, the more taxes you pay as well. Okay, the more corporation tax your business will pay. So it's going to be important that you actually understand that there is so much more that lies behind how profitable a business is other than just making more sales. And if you need help with actually understanding your business finances and understanding the key ways and methods that you should be focusing on to actually drive profitability within your business, then please use the links in the description box below to contact us on ways we can help you do that.